I'm Michael Elliott, and our next guest is Frank Nein. Frank, welcome, and could you give the audience a little background about yourself?
Thanks. Well, I am a telecommunications expert and specialist in the area of cybersecurity, what I call a cyber stew in the area of security, technology, espionage, warfare, reverse engineering, logistics, and streaming media as it applies to the current status of Internet of Things, but also my history in the sense of where I'm back in is in the telecommunications days of Verizon or broadcasting and news and media relevant to anything distributing and streaming in the Internet. So my background is, and my position of current status is collaborating and mashing all that up in the Internet of Things from the last 15, 20 years over to today.
Okay, and that's how 911Cyber comes into play.
Well, 911Cyber is the first line of business under the 9Sight 2020 LLC group, which is specifically addressing the very essence of what we've been witnessing over the last 90 days and over the last year as far as being the year of the hacker. So 3.5 years ago, I was fortunate enough to receive information out of the East Coast that there was an incoming sense that things were going to change in the paradigm of what's going on the Internet of Things and the telecommunications industry in the world of cybersecurity and hacking. And sure enough, in the last 3 months alone, we've seen a lot of news. And so the 911Cyber was exactly defining that which what was unfortunately perceived as what would happen, thus the term 911 and cyber combined with the U.S., which establishes that the United States has to be prepared. So that was created for the beginning of what is and has now been defined as the next generation of addressing these areas of the Internet of Things and telecommunications and digital media and all that is encompassed under the reverse engineering of cyber and hackers and the white hats and the black hats.
So let's go to a very relevant topic right now, and that's the Sony Pictures breach.
Sure.
So I'd like to have your insight on cybersecurity around that and the Internet of Things.
That's a great question. I called that literally 1.5 years ago, and maybe even 3 years ago I had said that this was something that was going to take place in this industry because I used to be a founder and partner in Lexicon Digital Communications, which was partners with David Caruso of CSL Miami, which was, at the time, through that, which is the #1 show in the world, and we launched a company that was going to address this issue under discrete content delivery networks, or in many respects, under the same aspect ratio of what a DCIA encompasses in understanding how that works within the industry.
Okay.
So a lot of that, and the reason why I'm here, and again, I emphasize DCIA, is based upon the very essence of the core of the foresight. So that was part of this process, and the Sony hack was actually something that was the type of foreseeing that was kind of brought to the attention going back years ago. The concern is that people were not aware of the fact that this could actually had taken place. So from my perspective and what had taken place is when I'm spending time as an alumni at Black Hat or DEF CON, people who I respect deeply are telling me that these are the areas that they are addressing or that they have an interest in for whatever the reason or purpose, it would always suggest that they were, eyeballing these areas. And when it came about, it didn't surprise me one bit. As a matter of fact, there was talk, there was speculation, there was hearsay, there was rumors constantly going through. So for me personally, it doesn't surprise me that the collaboration of third-party groups or countries or organizations or inside track people or disgruntled individuals or employees come together figuring out a way to level the playing field by addressing this towards causing disruption or if I may say so, chaos in an industry, and it happens to be Hollywood in itself through Sony, and I've got a lot of people in the inside track who've been confirming that I was right all along. I'm proud of that, actually. Yeah.
Well, why didn't you? So, Internet of Things, we're talking about by 2020, 50 billion interconnected objects.
Right.
What do we need to start thinking about in relation to that?
Well, first and foremost, you have to start thinking about what is already in place. The Internet of Things, the very essence of that term is that these things have been piling up for what, 5, 10, 15 years. The things are already, the things that we know of are already there, established in many respects. Baby monitors, webcams, let's start for that exactly as a primary example, especially when it comes to streaming media or video or data integrated into that laptop or a smartphone, which is a thing in itself, connected to that process. These things are already in place.
So how do we mitigate that then?
Well, from my perspective, there's not much you really can do. I hate to use this as an example. Sometimes you have to just throw stuff out and then put in something new because a lot of the old is not going to be able to be mitigated or integrated into the solution process. And I use this as an emphasis because one of the areas and projects that I'm currently involved in that I'm overseeing, and I'm involved directly is the hacking and cyber of the breaching of content or subject matter through a webcam that from a celebrity's house that is now being used to offset possible extortion from a multi-billion-dollar company of an IPO with hundreds of millions of dollars. So the Internet of Things is already being used against us based on the old and outdated and inundated products and services that were never prepared for the collaboration of security and cyber and hacking. So we have to kind of get rid of what is no longer useful and bring in that what needs to be supportive and to protect those environments and stop them from happening. Absolutely. If possible.
No, absolutely. Completely agreed. So last words, what do you think as we go forward? And we talked about, and it may not be, you can't throw out everything, but as we go forward, some of your thoughts on this online world, what we start thinking about and putting in place as we go forward?
That's a loaded question.
Yes, it is.
Well, okay. So I had the good fortune to meet with a lot of people over the last few years because I spent a lot of time in the deep, or in the dark and the deep web. And I've been researching and covering and also analyzing these areas. And to be completely straightforward in this area, I had a chance to speak with the assistant deputy towards Attorney General out of the Department of Justice at an event out here in Las Vegas. And he said that everything has to be designed by protection, privacy, and proprietary. So it's proprietary, protection, and privacy by design. So if it's not taken in that thought process first, or emphasized as the most important, basically reverse engineering it and building it from the inside out, all of this, what is going to happen, especially on the Internet of Things, out of these 50 billion or 200 billion products and services and solutions of an IoT environment, there's going to be so many houses of cards or so many areas that could easily fall through the cracks, you know what I'm saying?
So if it doesn't lead to development, it'll be forever following.
And more, in some cases, used as a loophole or as a way to get around the system or a back door to enter into an area that no one was even considering thinking about because they were not addressing the issues from the very beginning. And so we are in that position of life where we can't avoid it anymore, because if we don't, chances are things will not succeed to the degree we'd hoped for. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Frank, thank you very much for joining us today.